Okay. Now it's time for painting. The weather was nice, so we went outside for this part. I stole my wife to help me with the process because, well, I hate painting. This is part 2 of my vanity build, so if you haven't already, go check out part 1. I'll link to it in the top right corner and in the description box below. We started by priming the base first, getting every little nook and cranny, and then moved on to the carcass. After about an hour, we lightly sanded everything with 320 grit and moved on to painting. We gave all the pieces 2 coats of bare, cabinet, and trim enamel in French silver. I came back the next morning to knock out the next part of the project, the drawers. All of the sides of the drawer boxes were ripped down to 5.5 inches wide. And then the fronts and backs were cross-cut to their respective lengths over at the miter saw. Now, since every bathroom is different, I had to work around the plumbing. I made some measurements and found out that only my top drawer needed to be notched out. After what seemed like a half hour of drilling pocket holes, it was time for assembly. I pre-assembled the notch section with butt joints and screws. The screws will be visible from the inside, but a lot less unsightly than those pocket holes. This front section was a lot trickier than I thought. That F-clamp was literally doing nothing, and the boards kept slipping because that notch section had a bit of flex to it. But I had no clue what was going on. I proceeded as normal, but when I eventually got to that right side, I figured it out. I quickly made the drawer bottoms from some 1/4 inch plywood that I already had in the shop. Laying the drawer box down on top of the bottom and marking where I needed to cut out, I used a jigsaw to notch out the notched out section of the drawer bottom. To attach the drawer bottoms, I used a combination of glue and about 1,000,000 brad nails. And with that, the drawers are done. For install, I used some full extension drawer slides I had on hand. I took the extension part out of the slide and positioned the track 3/4 of an inch above the base of the drawer side. Using a center punch, I marked out where I needed to drill some pilot holes on both of the drawers. Moving over to the vanity, I positioned the slides where I needed them and inset the slide by the thickness of the drawer fronts I'll be adding later. I then marked, drilled, and attached the slides. Man, I could watch that over and over and over again. But stop, it's back to business. I grabbed an offcut of plywood to act as a spacer to set the height of the upper slides. Again, marking, drilling, and attaching them. I cut the widths for the drawer fronts off camera, but for the height, I cut the main sheet about 1/4 inch shorter than the total opening of the vanity, so that when I cut the boards in thirds for the drawer fronts, the blade would give that 1/8 inch reveal I was looking for. I broke all the corners and edges with a bit of 100 grit sandpaper to prep for priming and painting. So after 1 coat of primer and 2 coats of paint, I was ready to mount them to the drawers. I measured to find the center so I could mark the placement for the drawer pull hardware. I've seen this method used a lot to mount drawer fronts, as my previous method has done me wrong. Carefully drilling as perpendicular to the board as I can, I make pass-through holes for the mounting screws that came with my drawer pulls. I use small 1/8 inch spacers to lift the drawer front off of the base, including the sides to center it. Adding some screws through the front allows me to lock in that spacing, so I could then add screws from the inside to finalize the position. Removing the screws and drilling all the way through this time, I could add the drawer pulls to finish that drawer. Using the same steps as before, I could move on to the upper drawer. The top drawer had some clearance issues, so I used a flexible driver attachment to add the drawer pulls. The uppermost false drawer front can now be added to the vanity via some screws through the upper support. I noticed that the bottom right corner was a bit proud of the surface, so I added some right angle brackets from the inside to pull it into place. Okay, now that looks nice. Can't forget to install the hardware. That will inevitably make me think that there's a drawer there, and I'll accidentally pull on it 90% of the time when I go to look for the band-aids. To attach the base, I'll drill a bunch of holes for mounting. Countersinking the holes halfway so I can use some 1 1/4 inch screws to attach it. There's still a few steps left until install, but that's going to do it for this video. I hope you've enjoyed part 2 of my vanity build. I think what's next is demo, so we'll see how that goes and what lies in store.